Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for your interest in the Virtual Learning Academy. My name is Brian Seymour. I am the Director of Instructional Technology for Pickerington Schools, and for next school year, I will serve as the District Lead Administrator for the Virtual Learning Academy. So this is the second video in our informational series, and this is all about the changes to be expected for next year. A lot of these changes came from feedback that we got from parents, from students, from our teachers, through our summits that we had, where we had more time to actually talk with folks. And really, a lot of these came from you. So thank you so much for your feedback, and let's talk about what these different changes are. So the first one is we are going to have required Google Meets. Sometimes in some classes, the Google Meets were kind of optional, and we feel that we need to have more time with our students, more time with our teachers, and more direct instruction through Google Meets. So those will be required as we go through. We will have a blend of synchronous and asynchronous time in our classes in the Virtual Learning Academy. So synchronous means basically through Google Meet. So the students or a small group of students are all doing the same thing at the same time, learning from each other, learning from the teacher. And then on the other hand, asynchronous is students are off doing their own thing. So independent type work. So there will be a blend of those. Every grade level is going to be a little bit different. Every unit, every week may be slightly different, just depending on what the educational outcome is that we're trying to get out of the students during that point in time. So teachers will keep you updated on those when they're required and when there will be time to work independently. We will be using a great deal of research-based blended learning models. We have identified at least 8 of these different types of models, which if you watch one of the videos in this series, we'll talk about some of those different models and what instruction could potentially look like in the Virtual Learning Academy in the future. We will have improved communications. So in the past, all of our students lived in their own building. So we had 14 different communications going out from 14 different buildings, and unfortunately most of the communication had to do with what was going on in the traditional building and not in the Virtual Learning Academy. So this year we are going to combine all of the virtual learning kids into one quote-unquote building, and then from that you'll have one message that will either come from me or from some other form of leadership member as we go through, and that will be geared directly towards virtual learning, the academy. Also, you'll have single points of contact, the teacher and myself, and if we bring on an assistant principal or a principal, you'll have those options. So your message will get to us much easier, and it'll be much more relevant towards the Virtual Learning Academy and not just what's going on in the building. We have also learned through this year that we need to have a new learning management system, which is an LMS. So those of you that were in elementary, you use Seesaw, and those of you that were in middle school, junior high, and high school use Google Classroom. And we found out those work well for students when they're in the building sometimes, but it doesn't really work so well in the virtual setting. So we will be rolling out a brand new virtual learning management system for all students in the Virtual Learning Academy, and all students grades K through 12 will be on the same system. So parents, if you have more than one kid, you only have to learn one system. And parents, there is a parent portal to this. So parents, you will be able to see into the classes a little bit more with a little bit more access than what you were with Seesaw or with Google Classroom. With that also allows us to have a more improved organization of classwork. So you won't have to go from Seesaw to BrainPop to ST Math to whatever. Everything that we're doing we're trying to embed right into the new learning management system. So it's all right there, right in front of you, and it's going to be far more organized and easier to maneuver on your Chromebook than what we've had in the past. And speaking of Chromebooks, we have made the decision that all VLA students grades K through 12 will be loaned a PLSD-owned Chromebook. We realized that there were lots of problems last year with the iPads. We're actually moving first and second grade across the entire district into Chromebooks, but kindergartners in the VLA will also have a Chromebook, and things will be able to work easier than what they did this year with the iPads. We also have some really fun, engaging technologies that our teachers will be using that will allow them to interact and engage a lot more with the students through virtual methods than what we've had in the past. We're also trying our best when we look at staffing to hire teachers that will teach just fully virtual, and they won't have to worry about teaching some kids face-to-face and some kids virtual and bouncing back and forth and not being available outside of the period that they were in the virtual. So all of that is dependent on how many of you register for the Virtual Learning Academy. The more students we have in the Virtual Learning Academy, the more options like this that we can provide. But we are looking for at least at minimum the core subjects to be able to be fully virtual. And the electives we may have to pull in and bring a little bit in from the face-to-face school as well. But the majority of our teachers will be teaching fully virtual, which I think will help a lot with communication and time and access and all those things that we struggled with this year. We are also going to be doing improved professional learning for our VLA educators and for leaders. We will have a formalized professional learning track just for them that will be based just on VLA strategies. So a lot of the professional learning that our teachers did this year in the VLA still related to what was going on back in the school, but we want to make sure that we're now giving all of our teachers the tools and the knowledge that they need to be successful in the environment that they're teaching. And in this case, it's going to be virtual. And there's also going to be a change in the structure of the high school VLA. So one of the videos that we talk about later is going to talk about courses that are being offered. And this will talk about the structure of the VLA. And basically the VLA at the high school, just at the high school, is moving to a daily hybrid where students will take their core courses in the morning virtually, and then they'll take the electives. They'll be asked to come into the building and take their electives. This allows us then to be able to offer almost all of the electives that we currently offer our face-to-face kids to our VLA students. And that was one of the biggest issues and biggest requests that our parents had, was that we want to be able to have all of the options that our face-to-face students have. And this allows us to do that. So with that, those are the major changes. There's a lot of little other ones that we'll put in place as well, but those are the major changes that you'll be seeing this year with the Pickerington Schools Virtual Learning Academy. And as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to use the email vla@plsd.us. That will come directly to me, and I will be more than happy to answer any of your questions that you may have about the Virtual Learning Academy. Thank you so much again for your interest, and have a great day.